General Admission Podcast is back with another Mount Rushmore episode. Few times in my life have I been touched emotionally, physically to the point of excitement.
Physically?
By, a physical emotion,
Okay.
a physical reaction to a sports event or a sporting event or a sporting time. So let's Mount Rushmore, our top 4 sporting moments, sports moments or events in our lifetimes or our personal lists.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be from our lifetime.
Yep.
Originally, we talked about at least 2 have to be during our lifetime, but in doing research and looking back at, historical greatest sports moments and thinking about what they meant to me, I found more often than not they were during my lifetime.
Yeah.
Because I was actually there and experienced it or witnessed it, watched it on TV, was a part of it, whatever
Carries
it might
different
be.
weight.
Yeah. So, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I share the same thoughts with you in terms of how I kind of viewed it. I guess mine does have an event or 2 on here that maybe I didn't necessarily witness, but I feel like the magnitude of it is big enough that it warrants being on the list. Mm-hmm. So are we going to do the thing where we guess each other? I don't think that's even...
No, we don't have to guess each other.
All right.
We'll just go back and forth one at a time, I guess.
Yeah. So the first one I'll say that I put on here is the helmet catch in the Super Bowl, the Giants versus Patriots.
Okay.
I don't recall, that was such a fascinating Super Bowl run because that was the year that I believe they beat the undefeated Patriots, right? They were undefeated going into that Super Bowl. And the Giants kind of backed their way into the playoffs that year, if I'm not mistaken. I think they kind of squeezed their way in, getting hot towards the end of the year, but they were barely above 500, I think, to get in. Mm-hmm. And they went on a great run to get there. And then I think I have it, 3rd down and 5 on their own 44. Do you remember how that play transpired?
No.
Oh, man.
Not at all.
So 3rd down and 5, Giants were down at the time. Eli Manning is getting pressured. This is late in the game. How much time was left? I forget what it was. Less than a couple minutes left. Eli Manning's running for his life, almost gets sacked, almost gets dragged down by his jersey, scrambles to his right, and then throws up this wing and a prayer throw to a leaping David Tyree, who was contested heavily by, I think, Rodney Harrison. And remember, he makes the catch, and it was against the side of his helmet,
yes.
And he falls down on his back and holds
And
it there
still
and maintain the catch. That was such a big play. And you could say the Burris touchdown after that actually won the game for them was obviously bigger for the score, but that play, keeping it alive, and the amount of miracles that happened in that play. Eli evading would-be tacklers that would have, in all likelihood, ended the game. And then Tyree making just an unbelievable contested catch that was sheer will. I mean, he wasn't even one of their better players, but he made that catch, and it just changed the whole tide of the game with a little bit of time left. Mm-hmm. And I remember people talking about that forever. And I remember watching it and being like, what the hell did I just see? That was incredible.
Yeah.
So helmet catch for me is a big one. I wrestled with that and a couple other ones that didn't make the list, but that one it immediately popped in my head as a big moment that I've witnessed, and it's maybe a little bit of recency bias because it only happened 15 years ago or so. Yeah. But that was just incredible to me.
Not to jump too far ahead on your list or anything. I don't know if this is on your list, but do you rate that higher than Odell Beckham Jr.'s catch?
Yeah, because of the impact. Because Odell's catch was not.
Yeah, it was regular season,
it was a regular
right?
Season game,
wasn't playoffs, just amazing. And it was for a touchdown, but still.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous catch.
Amazing play.
It's a Rushmore catch, but I don't feel like it doesn't hold the same weight because of the magnitude of the game. This was in a Super Bowl, that's absolutely incredible to me. So helmet catch, I put in there for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to go with one off my list.
I would hope it's one off your list.
Narrowing down. Yeah, I'm still narrowing things down here. I've got 6 big events for me. I mean, I guess we'll just go to, for me, the most obvious to be on my list. So this is much more personal of a sporting event.
Okay.
The date is October 17th, 2009. Approximately 8:45 to 9:15 p.m.
Was this a childbirth?
It's the third inning, and Derek Jeter's up in Game 2 from the ALCS, American League Championship, so not even World Series. And I'm watching Amy in the hospital bed, and I turn to the TV for a split second. Doctors and nurses are in there. I turn to the TV for a split second, and Derek Jeter hits a home run.
Yeah.
I turn back, and the baby's crying.
Yeah.
Like, it probably wasn't within minutes, but the way I remember it, and just how, like, time stood still, it was Derek Jeter hit a home run, and in all reality, within minutes, Sophie was born.
Wow. So she coincides with the greatness of one Derek Jeter, which I'm sure she wasn't the only one crying when that happened.
Not a World Series home run, not a Grand Slam, not a record home run of any type, but still a New York Yankee, and I'm not a huge baseball fan anymore. I used to be.
Yeah.
But still, a playoff game, Derek Jeter of all people,
and of course,
home run.
Did it so many times.
Home run of all hits, out of the park, daughter's born.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That has a personal meaning for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at it in a different light than just impactful sports
A
moments.
Derek Jeter playoff home run is really what it was.
Yeah.
But for me, it's Sophie's birth.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Now, what a shitty husband to look at the TV while your wife is giving birth. But, like,
Yo, did you see that?
Nothing was happening. Like, it wasn't like a terrible labor or anything like that. Like, it just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah. It all worked out well.
It all worked out fine.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Dude, Jeter has so many moments, and one of them was like the flip, the backhand flip that he did, and I forget what game it was, but that was huge. The fact that he hit his 3,000th hit was a home run, like, and he's not even a home run hitter. Like, he's got some. He's got some legit moments.
Looking this up for some more details, just to check what game it was and verify everything. After announcing retirement, his very last hit was an RBI single in the bottom of the ninth to win a game.
Yeah.
At the last game of the season, the last game he's ever going to play, and he still comes in clutch and wins the game. Crazy.
That's what he was. He was the ultimate clutch player. Yeah, definitely an all-time great, but in a weird way, because he doesn't have gaudy numbers. He wasn't a massive home run hitter. I don't think he was ever the best defensive player in the league, but yeah, I think he's probably on a lot of people's Rushmore in some sense. Yeah. Jeets.
Yep.
Yeah, Jeets.
Hit me with another one.
All right. So the other one I have is a baseball one, but one that I did not witness. But I just, knowing baseball and being a fan of baseball as long as I have been, the magnitude of this, to me, just is something that is pure greatness, and that's DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak. To me, like, I know for a while people thought the home run record wouldn't be broken, but to me, especially the way modern baseball is, like, nobody's coming close to that. Like, no one's breaking 56 straight games with a hit. It's just so hard to fathom. Some guys have gotten into the 30s. I'm not sure all the records that people have approached with it, but to me, 56 games, it's still the one record in baseball that I think universally people look at as being untouchable. It sounds crazy, but dude, that's almost a third of the season of just continuous. Yeah. I mean, getting hits, and like today, batting averages are down, so like guys aren't getting hits like they used to. It's just all
let
home
alone
runs
in a row.
And walks, and it's just a totally different game. But even during that time, nobody was really doing anything like that. It's just monumental to me, and it's been said that hitting a baseball at major league level is one of the hardest things to do alone, let alone do it 56 straight games. I mean, the wear and tear, like, just, you would think you have an off day. Like, how do you not have a day where you just can't do anything? 56 straight times getting on base with a hit is
not missing a game either, right?
I don't know if that's part of. That's what I was curious. I should have researched that, because I don't know if you have off days and you don't play. I think that the streak still continues, but I'm not positive about that. I don't know.
I mean,
he probably didn't have
did they have off days?
No.
Right.
Nobody had off days.
No such thing as like scheduled off day.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were showing up hungover and going out and hitting the next
9
day.
guys on the field, you got 12 on the roster.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, back then there was no load management, none of this bullshit that you hear now in pro sports. These guys were just gamers out there every day, which is all the more reason it's impressive because you would think if you're playing that often and that much, you're just going to have days where, like, dude, I don't have it today.
Right.
That dude brought it every day for that time period. He was just ripping.
Crazy.
I would have loved to witness that. I'm hoping that we see somebody come close because we've had a couple guys start to go like on 20, 30 game hit streaks, but that's still massively far away from 56 games. Like, that's an impressive one for me.
That's a good one. I like it. Next one for me. We'll save that one for last.
I think it's probably going to be the same one I saved for last.
Probably, but I cheated and I didn't just pick one. Yeah, we'll see. Wait, we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 2008 Summer Olympics.
Oh, wow. I think I know where you're going.
And I love the Olympics. Like, I can't name every single sport, and I'm not like a super fan, but every 2 years, whether it's winter or summer Olympics, once they're on, like that's it. Like, I'm laser focused.
Can I guess what this is?
Every sport, I don't care, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But 2008, I was just more captivated than ever before.
Same.
So what is it?
Michael
Phelps,
almost
8 gold medals.
Almost put it on. It's not on mine. It was the last one I bumped.
Not even one of the single races. Like, did he beat someone by so much more, so much less? Did he set any world records? I can't remember.
Right.
But just winning 8 freaking gold medals.
It's insane.
And to even know that the record was 7 before that, 7's insane.
I know.
Right?
I know.
But 8 gold medals. Like, I was just captivated. Like,
totally.
When's the race? I need to watch it live. I don't want to wait
even
for
the
news.
relays.
When's this? When's that? He's got 2 races in the same day. He's got 3 races in the same day. What's next? Is it a relay? Is it a medley? Is he doing this? Is he doing like
the breaststroke? Whatever it was.
I ever watch swimming or care for swimming.
Nope.
I can swim. I won't drown, but I don't enjoy it. I don't like swimming.
Yeah,
I have a pool.
Actually, I do.
But the pool is for sitting and chilling. It's not for swimming and exercise.
Yeah.
So it was just amazing, just captivating.
I was on board for that entire ride, and I don't even know what got me into it. Like, I always watched the Olympics to some degree, and swimming for some reason has always been one of the sports that I do gravitate to. Like, I mean, Katie Ledecky is also impressive. She's the female version of Phelps, in my opinion. But something about that year, and Phelps too, he had a personality and a character, and people knew him. It wasn't like he was unknown going into that Olympics. He had already racked up a large amount of golds. But I remember watching that, and I can honestly say it probably is a top 4 time in my life that I've been fired up watching TV. Like, I was jumping off the couch, fist bumping. And do you remember? Like, I think it was the relay with the 3 other swimmers where they race. Do you remember how it came? It was like down to like a millisecond.
Yeah.
And they kind of came from behind, I believe.
Yep.
And he got that extra push. I don't think he was in the pool for the final leg, but he had already done his. And I think he's the one who got them back into it to the point where that last leg they could contend. Do you remember how fired up they were? And Phelps like fist bumping, like, dude, I got chills just now thinking about it. I probably should have put that in, but God, I'm glad you did, because that was freaking awesome.
Yep, that was a big one.
Oh, just pure, like, that guy just might be one of the most dominant athletes.
Quick, while we're on Olympics, a quick honorable mention. He didn't win a bazillion medals, but was just utter dominance for so long. Shaun White. Like, I love Shaun White too. I just
can't think of a moment, like a particular moment.
Yeah.
But longevity and also growth of a sport. Like, who had more of an impact on growing snowboarding to what it is now? The fact that it even became an Olympic sport is almost solely on him.
Yeah. From X Games and stuff.
Yeah. So Phelps, that's a great pull. Yeah, I was real close to putting that in there. Jesus Christ, 8 medals. Like, there's countries that don't win 8 medals in the Olympics.
Yeah.
That was freaking awesome.
All right. What you got?
So I'm
Number 3.
This one I really struggle with.
If it's football or baseball, I'm going to be bored.
It is baseball. And I didn't want to. And this is the one where I maybe would have bumped it for Phelps. But I just felt like when I look back at big moments sports-wise that just captivated me but also captivated the country, it's the 98 home run race between McGuire and Sosa. And it's controversial for me because I don't like all the steroid stuff that's around it. Clearly, they were impacted by that, right? But as I've gotten older, I look at the steroid stuff. I don't even want to get into that conversation in detail, but I look at it like baseball was king of this country for 50 plus years, if not more. Mm-hmm. But early 90s, it started really struggling, and then 94 with the strike, all but like almost killed the sport. Like it was not, they were not pulling attendance, they were not getting TV ratings. It was just dead. It was dying. And that was crazy for baseball because it was always America's pastime, and it was clearly the number one sport in the country at that time. But it was waning. And the steroids, say what you want about them, but that home run race saved the sport. And it captivated everyone. I remember being at games that year. I was a Mets fan, so I was at Shea Stadium. And you're watching the scoreboard more than you're watching the game that you paid money to see. And it would be, they would show like McGuire hit a home run. The crowd would erupt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've never witnessed anything like that where you're at a game that has nothing to do with the players that we're watching, and yet everybody was captivated. The buzz in the stadium was all talking about, oh, you see Sosa hit another one, and McGuire hit another one, and everyone was just enthralled with that, waiting for the next at-bat and for that news to come, whether they did it or not. And that chase all year was just nonstop, back and forth, back and forth. And people forget, Griffey was in that too until he got hurt. He ended up with, I think, 56 that year. So 62 was the record at the time. He ended up with 56, which that's not far off.
It's crazy.
And if he was healthy, he probably would have done it too. So that was just huge. And say what you want about the steroid aspect of it, but to me, it literally popped in my head really quickly about like biggest things that I've seen. And it wasn't just a one-day thing. It took hold of the country for the course of 162 games. Like people were just enamored with that, and I was a huge baseball fan at that time. So it was impactful, and it was a sight, man. It was something to see. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was an honorable mention almost for me when I'm doing my research. But it just, after putting a bunch of other things on my list here, it just didn't hit me as hard as some of these other ones.
Yeah, I almost excluded it, but
definitely had me glued to the news and to Sports Center every day. Had to see.
Yeah.
Like, what's up? Where they at? What's the number?
And they did it in a very gentlemanly fashion too, which I thought was interesting. Like they were literally cheering each other on.
Oh yeah.
Especially the more it came down to the wire. And like, were they playing each other when McGuire hit it?
I don't remember.
I gotta look now because I feel like it was Cubs Cardinals when McGuire hit number 63. So I kind of remember Sosa being there, congratulating him, that's even more crazy if that's true. I have to look that up.
I don't remember.
Yeah, that was wild.
Unless they just started going to each other's games.
Yeah, not easy to do in baseball. You play every goddamn day, but whew, yeah, big time. What do you got?
Next one's tough. I mean, there's one that just meant a lot to me, and then there's one that meant a lot, but also like just a huge. All right, we're gonna go with this one.
I have a feeling it's gonna be the same as mine, but
I don't think so.
All right,
spring of 1998.
It is not the same.
Yeah, I believe it was Game 6. Bulls are up 3-2, and with seconds to go, Jordan steals the ball from, I believe, Malone, Karl Malone, and hits not quite a buzzer beater, but close enough.
Yep, I remember
to take the lead after a big comeback to win his 6th title. Yeah,
I remember that vividly.
Yep.
I was not rooting for him.
And I was definitely.
Yeah, I was a Knicks fan,
but also in a sad way. I think we kind of knew that if they won, that was it. Like, I think he retired after that, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
And then took time off and went to baseball and then back to basketball and whatever.
I think the Bulls got to a finals without him, though.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the following year or the year after, but
it might have been. But
just, again, the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
Yep.
Michael Jordan, countless buzzer beaters, countless shots, countless posters, and just movie moments from him to win games, tie games, whatever. But this one was just huge. I mean, a 6th title.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
For a guy who, for the beginning part of his career, was known as a guy or labeled as a guy who couldn't win. Like, when he came to the Bulls in whatever year it was, mid-'80s.
Yep, that's
right. They couldn't get past the Pistons for a while. because the Pistons were the bad boys of the NBA at that time. It was the Pistons, maybe the Celtics. So Jordan was. It's so funny because people probably don't remember that it was like a long time where people were like, "Can Jordan ever win the playoffs?" Like, man, he's doing everything he can every year, and they can't get over the hump. Conversely, that's why. So I did consider that moment, but the one I was actually closer to putting for Jordan was it's referred to as the shot in '89 versus the Cavs. Remember that where he shoots the ball over Greg Elo, who was just. There's debate on that too from the players of the Cavs that Elo wasn't the guy who was supposed to be guarding Jordan at that time. Regardless, he hits that shot and then he does that like arm swing fist bump. Now the reason I almost put that in there was because of the fact that that was kind of the one that put Jordan on the map in terms of clutch. Like that was his first game-winning shot of that magnitude that just propelled the team and where he put the team on his shoulders. So I looked at that one as a little bit bigger because the one you're talking about, he was already known as the GOAT.
Yeah.
But that's interesting you pulled that. And I should have guessed that because you are a Jordan guy. So I should have pulled that. But
couldn't decide on which one to go with.
Yeah,
there were so many.
Probably others that we can talk about.
That one meant the most to me because as happy as it was to see the Bulls win another championship, as happy as I was to see Jordan win another championship, it was bittersweet because it's like the end. Right?
Yeah.
And like, I can't remember if he announced his retirement before that or if he hinted at it, but it wasn't solidified or what. But you also just kind of knew, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, the reign.
Well, for me, I was
over.
praying that was it. Because, like, as a Knicks fan in the 90s, the Knicks probably could have won 2 or 3 championships if that guy wasn't in their way. So I hated Jordan. But as I've gotten older, I've looked at him in a completely different light. And especially in contrast to a lot of modern NBA stars that I don't feel. I'm just old school, I just don't feel like today's NBA. And there's some great players, there's some really kind of throwback players now starting to make a comeback. But I just look at Jordan; he's just different, man. He's just that dude. It's just a different thing, and he did that kind of thing so many times.
Crazy.
It just unbelievable. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, you are up to number 4.
So I am shocked that you didn't.
I'm up to number
this.
4.
Yep.
Well, we each have one to go.
Yep.
So are we going to say it at the same time?
Okay, so you do probably have it then.
Most likely. Because, I'm cheating and I'm not picking a sporting event. I'm picking a month in time.
So it's probably,
The whole month.
All right, so I'm going to say it might be different because mine isn't really
Mine is
not factoring in.
June of 94.
No. See, I know where you're going, and I was going to put it, but I thought it was too personal, so I was looking more on, for me, the way I calculated my list was more of like a global or national scale, and while I really wanted to put the 94 Rangers in there.
You picked a soccer moment.
No.
Okay.
No. Well, since we're talking about it,
so,
go ahead.
June of 1994. I'm not a basketball fan. I'm not really a Knicks fan, but for the Knicks to storm through the playoffs and get to the finals at the same time the Rangers
Unbelievable.
get through all the playoffs and get to the Stanley Cup finals. And then for both of them to be playing well and actually have legit opportunities to win a championship. Like, as a Rangers fan, I was, like a pig in shit.
Yeah.
And the Rangers 94 Cup, the whole run, multiple games, overtime, winning games.
Drought.
Yeah. The Devils Eastern Conference Championship series in games and everything, and then the Stanley Cup Finals against the Canucks. With, I think there was a couple overtime games and some crazy
There was a couple
back and
in
forth.
the Devils series and a couple in the
with the Canucks.
Canucks.
So just high stress, high excitement, just as a hockey fan and especially as a Rangers fan. But then for another local New York team to be doing the same thing, it was just really, really exciting and memorable.
It's really it is the single greatest time of my sports rooting life. And I really would have loved to put it on there. And I probably could. Because that was the most magical thing I've seen. And God almighty, if the Knicks could have pulled it out. Yeah. But don't forget, you had 2 Game 7s. Knicks or Rangers Canucks went to Game 7, and they almost blew a 3-game-to-1 series lead.
Yeah.
The Knicks went to Game 7 too, and John Starks, who's probably still shooting, hoping to work his way out of a 2 for whatever slump in Game 7. Oh my God, if he had done that and they had won both champ. Oh my God, can you even imagine?
Nuts.
Like that parade for the
Nuts.
Rangers was ridiculous. The Knicks would have been even bigger because I'm telling you, New York is a bigger basketball town. It's not even a question. That was magical. Don't forget throwing in O.J. Simpson chase and trial during that time. That happened as well. That's a really good one because I just don't know. Like for me, I guess I just looked at my Rushmore differently, and I should have put it on there, but I don't know if that has the gravitas, for California people. But
we make our own rules. So
I love it.
You're going to put June '94 and get a second, fourth.
I love it. I'm kind of kicking myself for not putting it in there, and I could put it in there now because I still have one more to go. But I just think
make the rules.
This is just too big to not put in there. And it's 1980 Miracle on Ice.
Okay.
I think that is the pinnacle moment in all of sports. Like, I don't think there's a bigger, because that had a cultural impact. That was a time that was a lot of turbulence, especially with the Russian government, Cold War type stuff. Like that was a big time, controversial time period, and then the U.S. being such underdogs, and I don't think people today can fully calculate how big of an underdog they actually were. That Russian team was beating NHL All-Stars in exhibitions. Like they were wiping the floor with them.
Yeah.
It was arguably the greatest team ever assembled on ice. They were just an absolute machine. Physically, just way bigger, way stronger, way faster. Something about the timing of that and the players that Herb Brooks picked and brought them together in just a few months to a point where they can not only hang and go toe-to-toe, but beat the greatest hockey force that the world has ever seen at that point. Like, it's almost like, it is college kids beating pros.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. And for it to be USA versus Russia.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, at a time that there was a lot of USA versus Russia going on. Like, and just the fact that those kids were, like, joyful and energetic and had fun, and then there was the stoic, like, ice-cold nature of the Russian team. It was like you couldn't make it up. Like, if you wanted to write that story, you couldn't have written it any better than the way it actually played out. And the biggest thing I think people forget, that didn't even win them gold. They still had to go on and beat a Finland team after that, which imagine if they didn't. What a letdown, right?
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
And that wasn't a blowout game. Like, they had to battle that game too. But 80 Olympics, man, that USA win is just, it always is the first thing that pops in my head for, like, greatest sports moments. And I was 1 year old at that time, so I wish I could have seen it. But my dad talked about it. It was crazy.
I thought about that one. In my later years, and then, growing up playing hockey, it meant a lot from a historical sense for me, but nothing that, like, moved me like some of the other ones.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's hard if you didn't. Yeah, I'm sure our feeling would have been even more ridiculous if we had seen it and lived it. But the movie helped, Miracle.
Oh yeah, that too.
That helped bring it to life.
Documentary. I've seen documentaries on it and multiple movies with different characters and stuff.
Yeah, that's, as a hockey fan too, especially, that one's going to hold a lot of weight for me. But
what's you got any other honorable mentions?
Yeah, I almost put the Immaculate Reception on there. Franco Harris, I don't know if you're familiar with that one. I know you're not a huge football guy, but that's one that people know.
Was it the Steelers?
Yeah, and Bradshaw.
I know some shit.
Threw a ball downfield. This was in the Super Bowl, or no, AFC divisional round game, actually, not Super Bowl, sorry. Against the Raiders. Bradshaw pumps back, throws a ball that bounces off a defender's head and comes back towards the direction of which he threw it, right into a Franco Harris hands, like 2 inches off the ground. Scoops it and runs in for the touchdown. Like, forever as a kid, that was like we watch the old NFL films.
Yep. That's the one
that was one that they always showed that, talked about. That was similar to me as the one I mentioned, the helmet catch, but the helmet catch was more incredible to me because of the fact that he had to fight so much for that. Like, Franco Harris was a little bit lucky in the fact that it bounced right to him. Still unbelievable play, so that was an honorable mention for me.
2 for me. So, younger, I was always into extreme sports and did a lot of BMX, did a lot of dirt track racing, dirt jumping on BMX, inline aggressive skating, all that stuff. So 2 big X Games moments, because I remember every single summer, Like my world shut down for a week.
Yeah.
So I could get on ESPN and watch the X Games from morning to night because I want to see every event. I want to see every athlete. I want to see the whole thing. So Dave Mira's double backflip for the first time ever, and Tony Hawk's 900.
Oh, the 900 was huge.
Yep.
That was. I wasn't even a big X Games guy, and I heard all about
watching it live and the build up of the anticipation and the try, and then finally he does it.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah, that's a good one. I had a feeling you would have something in X Games.
X Games, extreme sports or something
related. Yeah. The only other one that I really gave serious consideration was Gretzky passing Howe for most goals, scored 802. I remember vividly the Sports Illustrated cover with Gretzky leaning on the net with all 803 pucks stacked inside. It was a freaking iconic picture. That was huge, and he ended up with 894, so it wasn't like he was done there. But yeah, that was a big one. I could have put that in there, but I think I got the ones I needed. The only one I'm kicking myself a little bit is 94 Rangers, and Knicks.
We'll give you that one as 4.5.
Yeah, there you go.
4.5.
Yeah. That was good, though. I enjoyed that conversation a lot. It's good to reminisce about those times.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we see something with our teams soon that would be maybe cracking a Rushmore, but I don't know.
Yeah.
For you, it's just you'd be hoping the Rangers did something.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Are the Knicks playing well?
Yeah, they are playing well. They're banged up right now, so they were on a tear, but they've had a lot of injuries hit recently that should be guys will be coming back from, but it's been taking a little bit of a toll on them right now. But they'll be a playoff team for sure.
Nice. Nice. And did the Mets win yesterday?
No, they didn't lose either, though.
Golf.
Well, everybody's golfing, but
that's
not
true.
for long.
That's true.
Spring training is like a week or two away.
Much of an insult. I'll save
not
that
a good dig
for October.
Yeah, save it for October where they probably won't be there.
All right. Well, let us know your top sports moments. If any of ours would make your list, or if any of ours would not make your list, let us know your list. Did we miss anything?
I'm sure people will let us know.
Yeah.
That they think we missed something.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's a bazillion other great sports moments, and some with much more historical impact, and some with more social impact and cultural impact and things like that. Just not having lived through some of them, just seeing them in documentaries or on the news, or just having a historical appreciation for different things. Babe Ruth calls a home run.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck?
Everybody
is that?
knows that.
Seriously.
12-year-old kids know that, and that's 100 years ago.
Jackie Robinson breaking all kinds of barriers and getting into baseball.
Yeah.
Right? Muhammad Ali's countless number of amazing fights and just his character and persona in general, interviews. Lots of different sport. I would almost say the Beatles playing Shea Stadium. I mean, that was such a huge deal at the time. I know it's not sports, but it's at Shea Stadium.
Was that their first U.S.
I think
concert?
it was their first big stadium concert, right?
Yeah.
I think they were on the Ed Sullivan Show before that, but that was the big. And it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if attendance or a new building is bigger or smaller, but Shea Stadium supposedly was like a humongous, ridiculous stadium.
It had to be. I think it was 60,000 people roughly.
Something like that. So
yeah,
for at the time. Again, not a sporting moment, but still in a sports stadium.
Tied to sports, yeah.
For a band to be able to pack that kind of place, that was just like unheard of.
Especially
at the time.
Right. Yeah, completely. Yeah.
So let us know what you think. Hit us with some more sports moments. Maybe we'll cover them in a future episode. Maybe we'll change our list. Doubt it,
maybe.
But you never know.
I'd like to be some new things that happened that I could throw on that list because most of my polls were from 20 plus years ago.
Yeah, 90s. Or 2000 and sooner. Well, the 2008 Olympics. But
yeah, and I had the helmet catch, which was that's still almost 15 years ago. But yeah.
Yep. All right.
Enjoy.
Until next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.